Coming up on the program tonight, the Sally's Army, we need your help. We look back at the year in local government and the Marine app to get you by this summer. Kia ora, welcome to Central News for Friday the 19th of December. I'm Hilary Entwistle. A year in local government can go very fast, and with 10-year plans and alcohol bylaws, it's been a busy year for new Mayor Jan Barnes of Matamata Piako District Council. Jan, it's been a year since you've been as well. It's been a little bit over a year, actually.
Yes.
So how's the first year of being Mayor of Matamata Piako been?
It's been a real privilege, can I say. Very, very busy year, embracing all my different roles and pulling my team together as councillors. But it's been most rewarding. I want to give confidence to the community that we have worked extremely well. We have had an alcohol policy, which we've managed to work through. The psychoactive substances was very contentious, but of course the government finally stepped up and did what we, the advocate for the community, asked. We've been working on our annual plan, and a lot of consulting has gone out. And you could almost say we've over-consulted, but I think people have appreciated us coming to the markets, bringing the groups in specifically to discuss issues with them. And now we're working on a long-term plan. And people might say, well, how do you work 10 years out and then looking into the future of 30 years? It's not just done ad hoc. We have figures from Burl, and we employ a rationale with our projections of growth or not going forward. And I can say Matamata Piako District has growth. So that's wonderful.
You say some people might think you've over-consulted on the annual plan. Why is that?
Sometimes people expect that you're an elected member, just get on with it. But we've got to allow everybody to have their say. So yes, we take those comments on board, but we've had comments where people have said, thank you, we've appreciated the chance to talk to you. So we get a bit of both.
So what's the big issues coming up for the 10-year plan?
Well, of course, managing infrastructure. Definitely always the core business of council, and that is your roading, your wastewater, which for another term is sewage, your water, and your refuge collection. So we've got to make sure that we've got capacity to cope with this little bit of growth that we're going to have, that we don't overspend the ratepayer dollar and have a Rolls Royce or capacity for so many more people that may never come to the district. So it's a balancing act, Hilary, and I believe that we are making a very good fist of it. I'm very aware of what my ratepayer can afford, and so it's got to balance. And of course you're looking 10 years out, so where can we move the bigger projects, what pipes need replacing, what capacity is left. And of course we have a Te Araha Event Centre as a new capital works, and our memorial centre that does not meet the earthquake standards and a very poor roof.
Those earthquake standards have been quite a problem for many councils. It's a tough one, isn't it?
It is, and we're in rural New Zealand, and we do have a lot of old buildings here. We don't want government to put such stringent rules that we have owners walking away. So we are lobbying very hard for government to allow our rural area to be mindful of safety, definitely, but to keep yet again that balance.
How do you find that balance?
I think we discuss with the experts in the different field. Yes, we had a 4.2 earthquake felt here in Matamata Te Araha recently, so we can't say we're removed from that. But what we're saying is we need buildings that will allow people to get out, not necessarily that will withstand the complete earthquake, but to have that safety factor.
So another big one that you said was this predicted growth. How much are we talking?
Oh, we're only talking 1 to 1.5%, but when you think about how many councils and local body entities do not have growth, in fact they're shrinking, how are they going to pay for the services and the infrastructure that they have, the level that they already have now? So we're saying business as usual, steady level. We believe the level of service we are giving is about right, but what capacity have we got going forward?
What is, I mean, excuse my ignorance to the population of the district, but what is 1% kind of talking in terms of numbers of people?
Well, we're a district of 32,000. We have approximately 12 in Morrinsville, 12,000 in Matamata, and the balance 6,000 in Te Araha. So that's a little bit of growth. We know Morrinsville and Matamata have a little more growth in Te Araha, but I think as a district we're functioning very well right across the 3 towns.
What do you think is leading to that growth?
Definitely dairy industry, location. Look where we sit. Why wouldn't you come out of Auckland? You can have everything that you have up there, just as good a house, if not better, money in the pocket, and you can go to lakes, skiing, beaches, or airports. So without the congestion. And can I say, our sports clubs and the clubs that we love are so strong. People are missing out living not in the rural New Zealand.
You talked about traffic congestion, and there is that Waikato Expressway. They're thinking, at least 4 years before it bypasses Matamata. With that 10-year plan, are you putting in place things that tourism development and that kind of thing? Because I guess you could run the risk of becoming a ghost town if people can bypass Matamata.
No, it's not a bypass, Harry. It's an expressway. And the mayors of the Waikato, in their forum and along with their councils, highlighted that the expressway was our priority all those years ago, because we felt that it would bring economic development to the whole region. We sit in that triangle between the Auckland port, the Tauranga port, and of course you'll have Ruakura inland port coming on stream. So I think that was a very good decision. I believe what's going to happen, and we're hoping that this is what will happen, is the trucks will be on the 4-lane expressway. They'll have an even speed, and I believe that's even being discussed to raise that speed, savings in fuel. And you'll probably get the independent traveller coming through State Highway 27. I think that we're still going to get the vibrancy and the busyness, but perhaps keeping safety paramount, with the trucks and the cars perhaps being separated a little bit more.
Still losing out on the truckers' money of buying their pie and their Coke or something like that on the road, aren't we, though?
Yes, that'll be need to address, something that, they do have these pull-offs where truckies are fed and watered. It depends where the truck is going, I imagine, and there will still be trucks needed to come in to service our industry and our areas. So I think that then perhaps there'll be a balance, I'd like to think.
If you'd like to find out more, visit the Council's website, mpdc.gov.nz. Coming up after the break on Central News, we talk to the Sally's Army. They need your help this Christmas. Welcome back to Central News on TV Central. The Salvation Army is kept very busy all year round, assisting needy and vulnerable families with food parcels, budgeting advice and counselling. Anne-Marie spoke with Colonel Ross Gower from the Salvation Army in Hamilton to find out why there is such an increase in the need for their services at this time of year.
Well, Anne-Marie, you might have noticed it's Christmas, and really Christmas does bring quite a flush of requests and need really for people. People are obviously wanting to do the best for their family and wanting good good toys, and we've just about got that one nailed. But the food, they want to get some good food on the table as well. So it's a seasonal thing.
What needs do people have at this time of the year that differ from other times of the year?
Well, many of the people that we work with come under immense pressure, peer pressure, and their children at school and bring the pressure home and so on. Little Johnny down the road, my mate, he's going to get such and such for Christmas, and there is a temptation and to try and match that. And we understand that that's not a wise thing to do in a budget, but parents want to be good parents, and so they do overspend at this time of the year.
It's not just food and presents that people require, is it? People get very lonely at this time of year also.
Absolutely, absolutely. Christmas time is a time when people like to gather with families, and for some people in our communities, families are just not around. Maybe they're living at distance, maybe they've been disconnected from their families, maybe families have passed on, and so they are lonely. And there's a lot of lonely people in the community.
How does the Salvation Army help the lonely?
Well, this year it's our turn. We share year in and year out with the Central Baptist Church here in Hamilton, but it's our turn this year to have a meal on Christmas Day for the isolated. And so 150 people are going to be coming here to this property, and we're going to have a lovely Christmas dinner for them. And these are isolated people. That's the criteria that we have for bringing people in. So it's going to be a great occasion, and we're looking forward to it.
How are those people identified?
They're identified from they self-identify really from the community, and so we have a little bit of a check to make sure that they fit the criteria, and they give us a gold coin to just feel as though they're contributing to it. We don't want them to feel that it's a charity. So they come along, and going to be a great meal.
Do you have enough helpers for on the day?
Yes, we do. We do. We're always inundated with great helpers, but we're there ready with the number of people that we need.
Tell me about the extra pressure on the food bank at this time of year.
Well, as I say, Christmas is a time when we like to be able to journey with people and help them to have a good Christmas. So people who don't qualify for the meal because they're not isolated, maybe they've got family out in the whānau around about, and so we give them food to be able to put on a meal at their place, and so that's great. That does run down our food supply, and it is really quite a challenge at this time of the year. Not just at this time of the year, I might say, because come February, March, when the credit card bills start coming in, we've got a great requirement on food, and that's the time too when our stocks start running down quite markedly. So it's not just Christmas, but it's through the year, and we have a need.
The food bank is quite well stocked at the moment, but that's only going to last a few days, isn't it?
Yes, it is well stocked, and we're very grateful for people to contribute and have food on the shelves. But this could disappear in 2 or 3 days, and of course, the whole idea of a food bank is not to keep it on the shelves, but it's to get it out the door and get it into families that are marginalised and need some good, wholesome food.
If people want to donate to the Salvation Army pertaining to this particular time of year, is it just donations of food that you would like people to give, or are presents required for children as well?
Well, we do have, in partnership with Kmart, a very successful toy drive, and new toys come in and they put under the tree at Kmart, and every other day we go down and pick them up and bring them here and process them and get them put aside for families that we've identified. So toys are pretty much catered for through the Kmart wishing tree, and full marks to them. A great initiative, and families in our community benefit from that. So that brings us back. It really is food. It's food to put on the shelves now, or donations that can actually assist us to restock going forward. And sometimes we need food that perhaps doesn't, baby food. Often we don't get baby food coming in by way of donations, but we've got to have it. So we've got to go and buy it. So donations of money is always helpful as well to restock and fill in the gaps for the sort of food that we need.
You provide ongoing support. You don't just hand out the food parcel and then leave them be. You're there walking the journey with them once you've identified a need, aren't you?
Absolutely, and we just don't give out food either. We interview everybody and assess their situation, because food is the presenting issue, but it's more often than not the underlying issue. And so we want to actually help people to address the underlying issues so that food in the future doesn't become an issue for them and doesn't become a problem. So we have budgeters and we have counsellors and we have social workers here and all sorts of wraparound services, and we're in a network of other agencies so we can refer people on. But we do try to meet the needs of the individual as best we can.
Do you think the number of families struggling is increasing?
From our numbers, we think it's about the same. It's static. It's not growing particularly, nor is it declining. It really is just sort of staying as it was last year and the year before. So for all the work that agencies have put in and government has put in and so on, we're not making headway, we would feel, at this point in time. But nor is it ballooning out of control either.
How do we make headway?
I think we put more resources into helping people with the underlying issues. So I think some of those other things, helping more with budgeting, helping more with advocacy, making sure that people are getting all the benefits and so on that they're entitled to get. So all of those sorts of things. And of course housing too. Housing is so expensive that a big proportion of their disposable income is spent on housing, and that's a real challenge.
Does the broader community continue to be supportive of those who are needy and vulnerable?
Look, I think the community is marvellous. I really do. I struggle to find people out there who don't care. People do care, and there are all sorts of ways in which they care. I think that this community here in Hamilton and broader around Waikato and beyond, it's a great caring community, all sorts of ways. They reach out, they see a need, they do try to help and support.
For more details or to or for help, go to salvationarmy.org.nz. Coming up after the break, the Marine app to get you by this summer. Welcome back to Central News. It is the festive season and the Christmas break, and there are a lot of waterways in our regions. The Waikato Regional Council won an award recently for their Marine app. Amanda Harper found out more.
So the award was with Coast Guard Boating Education, and the award itself was for education and innovation and technology. So it was like a combined Supreme Award.
Excellent. Marine Mate smartphone app has been obviously quite successful, downloaded over 20,000 times. Why do you think it's been a great success?
I think it's because people are now into using smartphones quite regularly. The technology's moved along that it's now achievable for councils to be able to do apps. They're not sort of bleeding edge technology, and it gave people what they want. It solved a problem.
And how did the project all come together? Who had the original idea to create an app for boat safety in the Waikato?
Yeah, so that was my team. It was actually a bit of a throwaway comment. We were talking about when you go from different regions, if you go from Bay of Plenty over the hill into Waikato, the rules can change, and it just happened to be a bit of a throwaway comment. Oh, it'd be great if there was an app for that. And we sort of just laughed. And then we sort of started talking about it a little bit more, and we thought, hey, we could actually do this, and we went for it.
It was a bit of a collaboration on funding in order to provide a free app. Who backed the project?
Well, who didn't really? There was 17 councils, 17 regional councils and 5 central government agencies. The big ones being Maritime New Zealand and Land Information New Zealand, because they've got a lot of information that we wanted to make it attractive to users.
And it's been a year since the launch. Have you had to make any tweaks?
Yeah, we've done quite a few. The best thing about apps is that your users give you feedback. So we took all the feedback that we got from the Apple Store and from Google Play and used that to make the app better. When we first started, it was a little bit clunky, and we wanted to just get the information out there and get people to say what they wanted, and that way we could improve it and have it good for their users. We're doing a very, very major upgrade which is coming out in the next week or so, which is the biggest change that we've done all year, so we're really excited about it.
It's obviously great for people using Waikato waterways, but what about other areas in New Zealand?
Yeah, so Marine Mate is nationwide, so it's all councils that have a responsibility for navigation safety across the whole country. And the best thing about it was that there was some smaller councils that couldn't afford it, because $5,000 can be quite a lot for some of the small councils. And it was really important to ACC that the whole country was covered, because it's part of their accident prevention. And so they funded 6 councils to make it nationwide.
And so say that I'm going out on my boat for the day in the Whangaroa Harbour. Does this app have everything that I need to know, or are there some things that the app just can't predict?
Yeah, so weather's one of them. We don't have weather on Marine Mate, and the simple reason for that is that other apps do it very, very well and already have collaborations with Maritime New Zealand for it. But if you're going out, then you'd start the night before and you'd check the tides, you'd know which time you want it to go out, you'd know what the local rules are, and where you can or can't do the activity that you want to, depending on if it's powered or non-powered.
Can you run us through the Marine Mate app and how it works?
Yes, definitely. There's probably 3 main features. The biggest feature is the tide times, which people find really attractive. And the best thing about this app is it's the first time that LINZ has actually put the tide times out that have been adjusted for daylight saving and also secondary ports. So you check that to know when is the best time to go out, because not all boat ramps are available at all tides. Then you'd look at the local boating rules, and then perhaps at the boat ramps and the zones that you're going to go into.
Do make sure that you stay safe on the waterways this festive season and the rest of the summer. You can find out how to download the app on the Waikato Regional Council's website. Now for our weather for Saturday. Looking to the seas now to see what our Saturday's going to be like. That is Central News for today, for this week and for this year. It's been an amazing year, 2014. We have thoroughly enjoyed getting out there and visiting the people of Waikato and the Bay of Plenty and telling your stories. We will be back on air on Friday the 16th. Until then, if you'd like to get in contact with us and let us know about something that's coming up in the new year, you can via our Facebook page, centralnews.tv, or email us news@tvcentral.co.nz. Until then, I hope you have a lovely evening, a fantastic weekend, and a very merry festive season.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.